is something I watched on BBC iPlayer, and it's called "I May Destroy You" from Michaela Coel. And so this is a film, oh no, film or TV show that made a big noise, and everybody was raving about at the beginning of lockdown. If you can cast your mind back to around about April 2020. And everybody was raving about this and saying, "Oh, I may destroy you. This is great. This is great. This is a brilliant thing. It's a whole brilliant revolutionary thing. That oh, we need more shows like this that talk about more things like this." And I was like, okay, fine. I'll try and give it a go. And I started watching it, and I watched a couple of episodes, and I was like, yeah, well, whatever. Not I couldn't really get into it, and I've sort of gone back to it little by little over the last year and a bit to until the bit where finally finished watching it. And the idea behind this is you meet Michaela Cole. She plays a character called Bella or Arabella, and she is like a social media personality who's written a book that has actually become quite successful, and she is writing a second book. She's writing a second book. One day, her so she has an agent and she has a publishing house. Her agents say, "You need to finish this book. You can have an office," and they let her go right there. She's writing there. Her friends call out for a night out. She goes for a night out, and she wakes up the next morning. She has a cut on her forehead. She can't really remember what happened, and she can't remember. She goes to the police and goes, "I think I saw something bad last night. I think I saw somebody go assaulted last night." And they say, "Oh, why is that?" She's like, "I keep getting these flashes of this guy doing this thing." And the more they talk to her, the more they realize that she didn't see somebody else get assaulted last night, but she was date raped, and that she was the one who was assaulted. And the reason she can't remember anything is because she'd been roofied, or like she'd had a drug, like she'd been sipped a drink that had something in it, and she couldn't remember it. And so that's where it starts off, and then the show sort of morphs into this weird thing where it doesn't really seem interested in following that one line and saying who did this or anything. It goes into a whole bunch of different directions about her friendship group and all that, and were they complicit in this? Like her friends who were with her, who left her alone, were they complicit in this thing actually happening? And then she has a friend, like a gay friend, Kwame, and he has his own thing that goes on, and then it goes into sort of like almost this sort of like gay app dating culture on in London, and what happens there, and why do people have to do that? And it deals with the fact that she is of Ghanaian descent, and it's kind of like, how does that affect with the kind of life that she's living, and it has random episodes that go back into her childhood, and then you find out like where one of her friends, one of the people who she's friends with now, accused somebody else of sexual assault when they were in school, and how that affected his life. So what a lot of the stuff you read about this show is it talks about, or it says that it's an exploration of consent and what consent means in today's day and age, and what happens to all these different things. And it does do this, but it means that it's quite hard to keep a track of what exactly is going on. And it's quite hard to keep a track of, okay, why are we going this? We did this in the last episode. Where are we going now with this? Okay, is this going anywhere? Is this good? Then she goes off to Italy because there's some guy that she knew in Italy, and then there's a friend of hers who, when they comes to visit her in Italy, and when she's in Italy, ends up having a threesome. But then there's a whole thing of like she has a threesome, but what actually happened there? Did the guys did they know each other before she had this? If they did know each other, was there a problem with that? There's a bit where a guy who is gay sleeps with a woman, and when she finds out that she's gay, she says, "How dare you? That's tantamount to rape. Don't tell me that you were gay." And it's like, is that really and it essentially goes all over the place. It goes all over the place. It goes into a whole bunch of different things, and it's. As I said, I kept going back to this show over the last year, trying to finish it off. And it wasn't until it got to the final episode, and I think in the final episode is the bit where it really, really does do something that is a little bit revolutionary. That is the final episode that it does something that it was set up. This whole thing was set up to be like a revenge thriller, or to be like a cop show where we try to track down what exactly happened or go. But it's in the final episode, and the way the show concludes is what really sets it apart from anything else. Because, to be honest with you, I found it hard going, as it took me over a year to finish watching the show. Yeah. I found it hard going because I was like, I am not sure what you're trying to tell me. I do not like these characters. I do not like these characters. I do not like the situation. I do not like what you're doing. Please get to the point. but it's not until it's the final episode that I'm like, okay, cool. Now I see what it is that you're trying to say. Now I see what it is you're trying to say and what you're trying. Let me put it this way: this is a show that has multiple endings, and it's yeah, it's a show that has multiple endings. So I think a big part of the reason why I probably didn't get into it is because I'm just no longer young. Let's be honest. I'm not, I'm not young anymore. This nightlife that they're talking about is not one that I recognize. The kind of things that they're into is not something that I recognize. The way they use social media is not something I'm into, and so so it's almost kind of like a window into a different world of what the world is like now. But I think for a large part, I was kind of like this show is totally overrated. I have to be totally honest. A large part, I was like, this show is totally is overrated. There's too much noise about it. I don't get it. The final episode is the one that I think that stands out, and that it sort of like makes everything else go, okay, cool. This has been elevated. This has been elevated so much so that I would give this a low 4.
Low 4, right? Okay.
Yeah, I'll give it a low 4 because I have to admit there's about 10 to 12 episodes. I can't remember exactly the number why, but I found it trying getting through. I felt like there were some interesting things. There was some interesting sort of back and forth.
What's it called again, Toast?
I May Destroy You.
I May Destroy You.
It's called I May Destroy You, and it is the second best title of the week after
Yes.
Run, Hide, Fight.
Yeah,
So,
Run,
like,
Hide, Fight. Run, hide, fight. I may destroy you.
I got several skills. I will find you and I will kill you. It sounds like we're writing a script for like a Liam Neeson movie.
Yeah.
Run, high, fight. I may destroy you. Go, and it's yeah. So I would give it for a large part. I just didn't get what the point of this thing was,
okay.
and it just went off in all sorts of random different directions. But I think it's because Michaela Coel, who wrote it, stars in it and directed it. She recently won a BAFTA for the show. I think it's because she is really interested in examining a whole bunch of things that are in culture right now about when you cancel somebody, should you cancel them? That kind of stuff. What is up in there? Who's actually to blame here? Like, is it this person who has done the act, or is it this person? And even the way it ends, it asks a real big question as to who is to blame here. Yeah, I think the final episode has caused a lot of people a lot of thought. But yeah, so I'll give it a 4. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. Right, and that is it. We have gone to the end of the show for this week. Would you guys like to guess who has accrued more points, like in this league table of next?
I think